Hello, my name is Micah, and in this video I'll be making a DIY fabric notebook cover, and I'm gonna be making this in the Traveler's Notebook regular size. This is such a fun craft and lots of options for personalizations for your Traveler's Notebook. I first saw how to make this in a video by Lollipalooza. I'll have her video linked down below. And yeah, if you are interested in seeing me make this and maybe make one yourself, this video is for you, so let's get into it. Of course, the first thing you need is fabric for making a fabric cover. I've chosen these two beauties. This is gonna be the outside cover, and then I've chosen this for the inside, and I think they look really pretty together. Now these I ordered from Spoonflower. This is not sponsored, I just really like Spoonflower. If you've never heard of them before, it's an online platform where you can buy fabric and the patterns are designed by independent artists, independent designers, and then you can select the pattern and choose what fabric they're gonna print it on, which is fantastic. That's so great. So you have the sort of like, yeah, you just can pick and choose to your liking. I've chosen to have this printed on linen cotton canvas, which means this is a little heavier fabric. It's quite sturdy, has a little bit of texture to it, and I thought that would be great for a cover, make it last, you know. And then I have printed this as a fat quarter, so you don't need to order a whole yard. You can also just order a fat quarter, which is more than enough for a fabric cover. You can probably get 2, if not 3 out of this, also depending on what kind of sizes you want. And because this fabric is so sturdy, this is also great for making zipper pouches out of, or pencil pouches. So that's another thing to make out of the leftover fabric. So this is really great. I'll have that linked below. And because you don't need a lot of fabric, you can also get real thrifty with your choices. You can quilt together some fabric scraps that you still have, or I've also considered making a cover out of a fabric placemat. That's also a great option for not having to buy, you know, a whole yard of fabric. This one I have once bought in the as-is section at IKEA, so in their sale section. So this was probably, I don't know, maybe $3 or something. And it's such a beautiful fabric, and it has like a little bit of texture, so it's so nice. So yeah, that's something to consider. I've also found fabric placemats like that at World Market before, where you can also get them like in singles. At least I got this as a single. So that would, you know, be beautiful as a fabric cover. But you could also, you know, thrift some pillowcases. I bet that's nice. They probably have some more sturdy fabrics in there. But yeah, it's really, really great for using up scraps and thrifted fabrics. Now, although we're choosing this sort of more sturdy fabric, we're gonna reinforce it with this stuff. Now, this is called Peltex F72 double-sided fusible ultra firm stabilizer. I bought this at Joann, the fabric store. I'm hoping that this is something that is available also in other countries, probably under a different name. But it's this white, almost like foamy stuff, and the way this works is we're gonna build a sandwich out of our fabric for the outside, and then the fabric on the inside, and then you fuse the fabric and the Peltex together with an iron. And that's how you're gonna get the main part of your cover without having to do any sewing. So yeah, we'll use this, and yeah, you'll need an iron for that. And then we will need some elastic. I bought this off of an Etsy store. They had a bunch of different colors. Really beautiful selection. I'll have that linked below. This is 5 yards. I have already made one test cover with this, and I've still plenty left, so I would imagine that that's more than enough. And then we need eyelets. Now these are a little big. I could have gone one smaller. These are 3/16 eyelets, and I think 1/8 inch eyelets would have been enough, but I got these now, and so that's what I'm gonna work with. But if you're out looking for eyelets, you could go a little smaller. And then you need your tool of choice for setting the eyelets. Now, I bought the Crocodile Big Bite, which is this massive thing. But the great thing is it can reach really far into your project, so you can actually set the eyelet that's gonna go in the middle of your traveler's notebook. But again, you can research different methods of setting eyelets and decide what works for you. And then it would be handy to have some pins to pin the fabric to the Peltex before ironing it on. It would also be handy to have some sort of fabric marker to mark where, you know, your eyelets are gonna go and where you're gonna cut the fabric and stuff like that. But if you don't have something like this already, you could probably also just use a pencil. The nice thing with these fabric markers is that you can rub off the mark with a little bit of water, so if you want to make sure that there are no, you know, visible marks left. But I would imagine that you can just as well use a pencil. So if you don't want to spend the money, that's a great option. And then, yeah, maybe some fabric scissors would be great, or, you know, a tool like this that makes it easy to cut fabric. That's always handy. And that's about it, I think. That's all you need for making a fabric cover. The first step is gonna be to determine the size of your fabric cover. A good idea is to take what you think you're gonna put into the fabric cover and then use like a measuring tape, or if you don't have a measuring tape like this, just use a string and then tie the string around it and then measure to give you sort of a sense of how much space you're gonna need. So you just wrap it around and measure it, and then on top of that, you might want to think about how much of a lip you want your cover to have, so that once this is inside, you know, if you want it to be almost flush, or if you want sort of a wider border around it. The size that I ended up going with is 8.5 in the height, and then 10.25 width. So that's what I'm gonna aim for, but again, that's totally up to personal preferences and what you think you're gonna put into your cover. And so then you're gonna want to cut out your Pellon interfacing a little bit bigger than what you think your cover is gonna end up being, to just give you a little bit of wiggle room. And then the fabric you want to cut out even bigger than the Pellon, so give you a little bit of like an overhang. And that's just because you're gonna iron this, and this Pellon stuff is gonna get sticky with the heat, and so cutting out the fabric a little bigger will protect your iron, so that this stuff doesn't stick to your iron. And so then once we have this adhered, we can then cut it to size and make it all neat and nice looking. Yeah, so you want to cut out the Pellon a little bit bigger than what you want your cover to be, and then your fabrics you want to cut out even bigger than that. And once you have all your pieces roughly cut to size, we are going to go to the ironing board and attach these little things. So, see you at the ironing board. Okay, so now we're just gonna follow these instructions that Pellon gives us, and you get this little instruction sheet with your purchase. But you can also take a screenshot if you want. So we're just gonna, in the first step, gonna take our Pellon and build our sandwich. So the front fabric piece with a little bit of a lip, we're gonna take some pins and pin this in place. Turn it over and pin the inside cover in place. And now we're gonna baste these into place with the iron set to the wool setting. And so we're just gonna lightly, with a gliding motion, go over this. Turn it over and do the same with the front. You can also now take out the pins because it's already starting to stick together. Actually take these out too. Okay, now it's already coming together. Now we're gonna cover this with a damp press cloth, and then with the hot iron, again set at wool setting, we're gonna fuse everything into place by pressing firmly for 10 seconds per area, and then we're gonna overlap it slightly, which is gonna like really, fuse this little notebook cover sandwich together. And now in the last step, you're just gonna remove the press cloth and iron the fabric to eliminate any of the excess moisture that's still in here. Next, we're going to cut our little sandwich to the final size that we want the cover to be. If you're unsure about your sizing, then maybe leave it bigger than what you think you'll need, and then just put your little insert stack in there and test it out. You can always cut it shorter if you need to, but adding length is a little problematic. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. Gonna cut this out and make it look all neat around the edges, and then we'll set some eyelets. actually, before we set the eyelets, there's an optional step. If you do have a sewing machine and you want to, you can now top stitch around your cover just to give it like a neat look, but that's totally optional, and if you don't have a sewing machine, it's fine. Like, you don't have to. It's just a visual effect. I mean, you could hand stitch around it too. That's obviously an option as well. So I'm gonna take this to my sewing machine and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and this is the top stitching. I just went around it with this green thread. Really pretty, something that I realized that you might want to take into consideration. If you have something as strongly horizontal and vertical as a pattern like this, then it'll be apparent sort of like how straight or crooked you have cut out or laid on your fabric. So if that's something that bothers you, then maybe choose a pattern that's very organic, like a floral, where that's not as apparent. So just something to keep in mind. We are ready for the next step, which is to set our eyelets. I'm gonna set 5 in total, so 1 in the middle for the outside elastic, and then 2 up the top and at the bottom to hold in my inserts. So I'm gonna figure out the middle, and then we're gonna measure from there. I hope you can see sort of the markings that I've made. I've marked the middle here, and then the middle of that, where we need the eyelet for the outside elastic. And then I measured, on that middle line, I measured 1 centimeter down, and then made 2 markings, each 1/2 centimeter to the left and to the right of that center line, where I'm gonna set my eyelets up top, and then I did the same thing for down here. And so now it's time for our big bite to set our eyelets. So first we're gonna make holes, and like I said, I'm gonna go for 3/16, though the one what's that other measurement, 1/8 would have been a little better. Like, you don't need 3/16, it's a little big, but it's fine. And then now you can see why the big bite is nice, because it can reach all the way in the middle there. And so now I'm gonna just try and get these all lined up. Now we're gonna put in the eyelets, and we're gonna do that from the outside. So from the outside cover, just gonna put those in and set them. Now we're ready to thread our elastic. So for the elastic that holds the inserts in our cover, we're going to start by just going from the into the top right, come through, come back in, and then go back out, come back in. And then you want to have enough elastic, obviously, to make a knot. But overall, we want to tie it so that it bows just a little bit, so there's a little bit of tension there. So I'm guessing that this is about a good place to snip it. And you can always adjust that and wiggle it around. I'm not sure if that's enough of a tension. And then for the one that goes in the middle there, we're just gonna measure, so we're gonna have a little bit that we need to come from the inside out, and then we're gonna go around and then need a little bit more to go back in and tie a knot. So let's say we need this much. Seems about right. So we're gonna go from the outside in, and this is where the one benefit of having these bigger eyelets is that it's really easy to stick both of those elastics through there. That's a little tighter when you have the smaller eyelets. Let's just put in a knot right here and see if we might have to tighten it a little bit. I think that's about right. I mean, we don't have any notebooks in there, so we can try that out. But yeah, look at that. You know, things are just gonna shift around a little bit with use, I guess. Well, let's put some insert in. I am going to put into my traveler's notebook a Midori blank cream insert. Yeah, just the blank paper. And then I have a B-Sides and Rarities sticker release paper. So it's basically like a sticker album, which is really fun. And then I also got this zipper pouch from Traveler's Company. So there's a zipper pouch in the front, and then it has these two pockets on the sides. Really fun. And so I think how this works is you take an insert and wrap that around, find the middle, and then we're gonna slide that in here like so, and it fits. Woohoo! That would have been really disappointing now. And then we slide this one on the other elastic. And there's loads of YouTube videos about, you know, Traveler's Notebook setups and how to put more than 2 inserts in here with other elastics and all that kind of jazz, but I'm not gonna go into this right now. But here it is. Now we have some inserts in our cover, and closure still fits. Nothing's hanging out. As you can see, we still got a little bit of a lip there, and you know, I mean, I can probably fit another insert in here, or if these bulk up. I guess the only thing is that that zipper is just barely inside of the notebook, but I can work with that. I don't mind that at all. But yeah, so that's lovely. Now you can't stop here, as you have a functioning fabric notebook cover. It has its elastics, you've got the inserts in. I have decided to go one step further. I ordered myself some book corners that I'm gonna put on the corners just to protect them a little bit further. And then I thought it would be fun to just add a little razzle dazzle and add like a charm maybe here or up here. I thought that would be fun, so yeah, I'm gonna do that, but that's totally up to you and your personal preferences. Okay, I already put the book corners on off camera. That was a little more fiddly than I anticipated, because the style that I wanted to have on my corners was just almost too thin for the thickness of the Peltex with the fabric, so I had to like will that in place a little bit. One tip is you can cut off just a little bit on the corners, not too much, or you'll end up, you know, having you know, you're gonna miss the corner there. But yeah, I cut off a little bit of the fabric to just help that. And then I just used some pliers to like really get these to stick in place. And that's how I got those on. For the book corners, I bought this set off of Amazon. I'll have that linked down below. It's a set of 24. So they come in 3 styles and then 8 of each. So you could do 2 books of each style. They have this cute design here, and then this more simple design that I put on my journal. And then these bigger ones for like a really big journal. But yeah, definitely keep in mind the thickness of the cover when buying book corners, if that's something you want to try out. And now I'm just gonna add a charm. I made this one myself. Still gotta learn a little bit more about how to make charms, but just grabbed some beads and this little tassel, and then I made this cat charm out of shrink plastic. So that's really cute. And then I'm just gonna attach that here to the front of my journal. Cute! And there we have it. My self-made DIY traveler's notebook cover. I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial, and maybe you'll give it a try. Let me know in the comments below if you're intending to make your own fabric journal cover, and if you have any questions. Again, all of the resources and things mentioned are going to be linked in the description box, and until next time, happy journaling!